and welcome to Craft with Sarah and the first day of the Halloween Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing 20 Halloween-themed Cricut projects in 20 days. 10 of the projects are designed by me and 10 are guest designer projects from some of my crafting friends. We're kicking things off with one of my projects, and it's these two cute little Halloween teddy bears. They are layered cardstock designs. Both the male and female versions of the teddies are included, and they're all dressed up, ready to go trick-or-treating. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Halloween Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/HCC23. If you're already registered, check for an email from me with subject line Halloween Craft Countdown ticket information, or any of the other emails from me that you've been sent throughout the countdown. Can't find them? Check your junk or spam box to see if they've gone there by mistake. These emails contain the link to view the countdown projects and download today's files. Scroll down this page to find today's project. Click the button to start the files automatically downloading to your computer or mobile device. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/HCC23 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Halloween Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. All downloads come in zip folders. You will need to unzip them before you can upload the files into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVGs into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and begin a new project, and then click Upload over on the left. You can see I've already uploaded the female teddy, so I need to do the male one next. I'll click Upload Image, and then you can either click Browse to find the files on your computer or drag and drop them in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the file, and then within there are two subfolders. You've got Halloween Teddy Female and Halloween Teddy Male. I'll go into the male one, and then there's several different file types in here. For Cricut Design Space, you want to use the one which starts SVG in the file name. Also contained in these folders are assembly guides, which are printable guides that show you the order to stick the layers together in and whether to use glue or foam squares for each one. But don't worry, I'm also going to show you all of that in this video. So I'll click and drag my SVG file in, and it should look like this with all of the layers one on top of the other. If yours looks different and you see all the little pieces next to each other instead, that means you've accidentally uploaded the wrong file. So if that's the case, click Cancel down here on the bottom and try again, and make sure you choose the one which starts SVG. This one's looking good though, so I'll press Upload. Now it's appeared in my recent uploads, I can click on it to get the green border, and I'll also click my female teddy too, and then press Add to Canvas. And here they are. If you click away and then click and drag on the top one, it will move apart. And you can see down this right hand side in the layers panel all of the different pieces they make up these two teddies. If you want to cut them both together, it's a good idea to check the colours before you send it to your cutting mats to make sure that you've not got any that are really similar but not quite the same. To do this, click on Colour Sync at the top of the layers panel. So I can see here my blacks on each of the teddies are slightly different, which means the Cricut would try and cut it from two different sheets of card, but I'm going to be doing it from the same, so I can just click and drag that second black and drop it into the first one, and that will change it all to be the same. So now it will cut from the same piece of card. And I can just look through and see if that's the case for anything else. To make it easier, you can close up the colours by clicking the little arrows next to them. And I'm thinking it's probably okay. The whites are the same. My reds and yellows are on the different designs, so that doesn't matter. And it looks like all of my browns of the teddy is exactly the same. So it was only really that black one that I needed to change, which is great. So let's click back to layers. To resize the bears, click on them and then make sure this padlock icon in the width and the height box is closed. That will enable you to then type in either the width or the height box, and the other measurement will stay in proportion. For example, if I change the height on the male teddy to 7 inches and press return, the width changed too. And I kind of like when I'm doing a pair to line them both up along one of the grid lines in Design Space. If you can't see the grid lines, click this little square at the top of the screen and that will toggle the different types of grid. And that way I can just see if I'm happy with how they're looking in terms of their proportions. So now she looks way too big compared to him. Let's make her a little bit smaller. I think that matches quite nicely. All right, so this would then be ready for me to cut out. So I can click Make It at the top. This will separate out all of the colours. You can change the paper size in these drop downs down on the left. And then if you want to, you can click and drag to move the layers apart. And this can be a really great way of moving things about to help save space. You do need to change the paper size for every single colour. So go through and do that. And this is also a great opportunity to see how many sheets of card you'll need for each one. Even though it looks like a lot, for most of these, you're only using a tiny little bit to add some of these details. So although it's lots of colours, it's not really an awful lot of cardstock. When you're happy with how it's all looking, press continue to connect to your Cricut machine. Follow the instructions to get everything cut out from cardstock, and then we'll see how to stick together our 2 little Halloween bears. Here's my male Halloween teddy, all cut out and ready to be stuck together. I am also going to show you the female version in this video, but I'll do this one first. I'll be sticking all his layers together with a combination of glue and foam squares. The glue I like to use is called Collall, and I really like it because it doesn't bend or wrinkle the cardstock like some glues can do. And I put it into these needle tip applicator bottles, which makes it really easy to get the glue into tiny places. Other great glues to use are Bearly Art Glue or Art Glitter Glue. The foam squares I'm using are from Dot and Dab. I like these ones because they come really small and it's easy to peel the little bits of sticky paper off the top. It doesn't matter what brand or what size you use though, any foam squares will be absolutely fine. Just bear in mind that if yours are a little bit on the larger side, you may need to cut some of them smaller with scissors. Alright, so as with all my layered designs, we need to start at the bottom and work upwards. So let's move some of these bits out of the way. I'm trying to keep them vaguely in their correct positions to make it easier so I don't have to line everything all up again when I come to stick it. Okay, so now I've just got my very 2 bottom layers, which are these 2 red ones. And this one's nice and easy to start. We'll be gluing the lighter piece of red onto that bottom darker piece. You can see straight away why I like these little bottles, because it makes getting the glue into these little thin bits really easy. Bring that very bottom bit back in, and then I use his little legs and ears to know where to line it up. There we go. Push that down gently because I don't want to smush the glue out. But there's those bits done. Next, we're moving on to his body, and there are 2 layers for this, the lighter one and the darker one. We'll start with the lighter one, and this is going to be a foam square layer. So I'll turn him upside down and get the foam. Try and put little bits of foam in all the sticky out pieces, such as the ears, the arms and the legs, and also into some bits of the trident. This is why I said you might need to cut your bits of foam smaller, and actually even though mine are tiny, I think I just need to snip a couple of those in half to put some extra foam in this to make sure it gets a good stick. And in there, I think that should be enough. Enough for the trident anyway, not for the teddy. because as well as putting those bits around the edge, we also need foam squares in the middle section, because if there's nothing in the middle, then the cardstock may dip downwards like this under the weight of itself because there's nothing there to support it. But by putting foam squares in the middle, that gives it that support, so it will stay nice and flat when it's all stuck together, which will look much better. Okay. Make sure none of your foam goes over the edge, otherwise you'll be able to see it when it's turned round. I'm just checking that little bit, but it is just about okay. Now I've got all my foam squares on, I can peel the tops off to reveal the stickiness underneath. Right, time to stick it on. Going to carefully line this up and then just drop it down without putting any pressure on. And that means if it wasn't quite lined up right, I could pick it up and move it, and it hasn't actually stuck yet. So it should move without damaging anything. But that looks like it's lined up well. So let's push down to seal. Get all those foam pads stuck. And then next it is the top layer of the ears, which is a glue layer, much simpler. Beautiful. We're now moving on to the body. We've got his horns first. And I think that I'm going to glue this one and then foam the body. Or do I want to foam the horns? Because he's still got his head to go on top. Okay, I'm going to foam this one. You'll have in your download folder an assembly guide that shows you whether to foam or glue each one, but as I'm doing this for the first time, I'm trying to figure it out as I go along, which is why some of the layers I take a little bit of time to decide on. Alright, I've got to cut them all small again for this trident now. So it's really easy to cut. Just straight down the middle with a pair of scissors to cut them in half. And then I'll put them in here. I was trying to avoid having to do this again for the black layer of the trident, but it will look much better. So it's worth taking that little bit of time to know that the design will look better in the end. That's what I figure anyway. Alright, let's get these backs peeled off to reveal the stickiness. Right, trident layer to stick. Oh, I just pulled off a foam square. It's kind of the problem when they get this small. They don't like to stay stuck. It's fine once they're actually stuck down properly though. There's that one, that looks good. So I'll push to seal. And then the next two layers will be glued. Right, onto his head. First, we've got the brown layer, and this one is a foam square layer. There, and then we've got the red on top, being his little top of his costume. This is a glue layer. Next are his eyes, and both of these are also glue layers. You can see my card ripped a little bit on the back there. But as long as it's on the back, it's okay because we can't see it. Here's his eyes. And for his snout, there, foam this up, give him a bit of dimension in his face. There we go. And then for his nose, you can either glue or foam it. It doesn't matter. I think I might foam it. Just give it one last bit of pop. And his nose should go up kind of towards the top. Kind of about there. Maybe down the teeniest of bits more. And there we go, that is the male Halloween teddy finished. So now let's get started on the female one. Here's the female version of the teddy. You can see this is why I left her to second, as there's a little bit more going on and more layers to stick together. But once again, I've put everything on top of itself just to check I'm happy with all the colours, which I am. So we'll start straight away with getting her stuck together. I used a gold mirror card for the yellow layers. See, it's nice and shiny, which I think just gives that extra little spooky appearance. I think I've got these layers around the wrong way, because you can't actually see any of that. Ah, I have, look. There we go. That is why we layer things first. And don't forget you've got that assembly guide so you can see exactly what needs to go next. Alrighty, so I'm now extra confused because I've just seen got this layer and this layer. Oh no, they're not quite the same. Okay. That's fine. That's making the shadow of the hat. I thought they were the same. Oh dear. Trying to do too much crafting in one day. That's what it is. And next is her body. Got a light one and a dark one. Start with the lighter one, which will be foamed up. So this is a little bit different because on the male teddy we had his body in red because of his little devil costume. But this time she isn't wearing a costume like that. And this broom is thicker than the male teddy's trident, so I don't need to cut my foam squares smaller, which is fantastic. Just like before, I'm going to go around the edge and also make sure I put foam squares in the middle section too, to give it that stability. And now all those are on there, I can peel the tops off to get at all of that stickiness. So I'm going to line this up using the hat and the broom. Gently drop it down. Check I'm happy with it, which I am, so push down to get it all stuck. Got a few little bits where my card's torn a little, just need to get those out. Right, next is this piece, which is a glue layer. Next we'll move on to the bits that were confusing me, starting with this black layer, which is the back of the hat, and this will be a foam layer. Right, line it up, drop down, check you're happy, and then push to seal. Now we've got the head of the teddy, and this is a glue layer. Next, I'll move on to her hat. There's quite a few little pieces for this one. I'll start with the back of the hat as a glue layer. And then also this section, which is making that ribbon, which is another glue layer. Alright, before I do the next piece of the hat, I just want to get that buckle glued on. There. And then this one, to make the rim of the hat, I'm going to raise it up a little bit, so I'll foam this one. Next, we've got her broom. The handle of the broom is a nice, easy glue layer. And then for the top, it's getting quite thick now. So I'm tempted to just glue it. No, I'm going to go all out there. Let's add extra dimension. There's that one. And then glue for the little ribbon, tie, not sure what you call it. That one on there. And then I'll go for the pumpkin next. So I'll glue the stalk. Then foam the gold layer. I'm almost out of foam. I don't think I'm going to have enough. I'll have to open a new pack. That one. Then we've got the light orange, which will be glued. The dark orange, which will also be glued. This one's very narrow, so be careful. I'm going to dab that down very gently so the glue doesn't smush out the sides. And finally, for the hand, attach that one with some foam. Ooh, don't think that's the right way up. That way? It's a bit hard to tell. There. Alright, all we've got left to do now then is her face. I'm going to do this in the same way as we did with the male teddy. So glue the eyes and then foam the snout and the nose. Did I just say nose twice? I don't know. Foam the eyes. No. Glue the eyes, which is what I'm doing right now. Glue the eyes and then foam the snout and foam the nose. There we go. That was difficult. That one, and then foam, foam, foam. There, and then finally one little bit of foam for her nose, but if you prefer, you can glue the nose. And again, this should go kind of near the top in the middle, horizontally. No, vertically. So in the middle between the left and the right, but nearer the top than the bottom. There. And there she is. Doesn't she look perfect? Definitely a bit more effort than the male teddy. Our little female witch teddy bear is now all finished. You can see all the different layers in there. There's quite a lot to her. There's more effort in her, certainly, than her male counterpart. But when you put them together, they make the most adorable little pair of trick-or-treat teddy bears. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make these cute Halloween teddy bears from cardstock. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and Halloween fun. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 2 of the Halloween craft countdown. Don't forget the link to get the cut files for this project is craftwithsarah.com/HCC23, but they are only free to download for 24 hours after this video goes live. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!